Please be ready for a dictation of part 3 of the matter for DDC PA skill from Wikipedia on the Prime Minister. 5 seconds. Start. Also, as the Minister of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, the PM also exercises control over the Indian Administrative Service, the country's premier civil service, which staffs most of the senior civil service positions, the Public Enterprises Selection Board, and the Central Bureau of Investigation, except for the selection of its director, who is chosen by a committee of the Prime Minister as chairperson, the leader of the opposition in Lok Sabha, and the Chief Justice. Unlike most other countries, the Prime Minister does not have much influence over the selection of judges. That is done by a collegium of judges consisting of the Chief Justice of India, 4 senior-most judges of the Supreme Court of India, and the Chief Justice, or the senior-most judge of the concerned state High Court. The executive as a whole, however, has the right to send back a recommended name to the collegium for reconsideration. This, however, is not a full veto power, and the collegium can still put forward rejected name. The Prime Minister acts as the leader of the House of the Chamber of Parliament, generally the Lok Sabha, he or she belongs to. In this role, the Prime Minister is tasked with representing the executive in the legislature. He or she is also expected to announce important legislation and is further expected to respond to the opposition's concerns. Article 85 of the Indian Constitution confers the President with the power to convene and end extraordinary sessions of the Parliament. This power, however, is exercised only on the advice of the Prime Minister and his or her council. So, in practice, the Prime Minister does exercise some control over affairs of the Parliament. Article 75 of the Constitution of India confers the Parliament with the power to decide the remuneration and other benefits of the Prime Minister and other ministers are to be decided by the Parliament and is renewed from time to time. The original remuneration for the Prime Minister and other ministers were specified in the Part B of the second schedule of the Constitution, which was later removed by an amendment. In 2010, the Prime Minister's office reported that he or she does not receive a formal salary but was only entitled to monthly allowances. That same year, The Economist reported that on a purchasing power parity basis, the Prime Minister received an equivalent of $4,106 per year. As a percentage of the country's per capita GDP, gross domestic product, this is the lowest of all countries. The National Defence Fund was set up the Indian government in 1962 in the aftermath of 1962 Sino-Indian War. The Prime Minister acts as chairperson of the Fund's Executive Committee, while the Ministers of Defence, Finance and Home act as the members of the Executive Committee. The Finance Minister also acts the treasurer of the committee. The Secretary of the Fund's Executive Committee is a joint secretary in the Prime Minister's office dealing with the subject of NDF. The fund, according to its website, is entirely dependent on voluntary contributions from the public and does not get any budgetary support. Donations to the fund are 100% tax deductible under Section 680G of the Income Tax Act 1961. The Prime Minister's National Relief Fund was set up by the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, in 1948 to assist displaced people from Pakistan. The fund now is primarily used to assist the families of those who are killed during natural disasters such as earthquakes, cyclones, and flood, and secondarily to reimburse medical expenses of people with chronic and deadly diseases. Donations to the PMNRF are 100% tax deductible under Section 80G of the Income Tax Act 1961. Stop.